and I'm too sexy.
There you go. And we also have Scott Steiner.
I'm Scott Steiner, the master of the Steiner recliner.
Steiner, the back is forever.
Nah, get ready to submit to the Steiner recliner.
Steiner, you can't survive my jackknife powerbomb.
Nah, can't beat Big Papa Pump.
There we go. All right.
And with that, welcome everyone to Heels and Jobbers. I'm Sunny Cadwallader, known as Cad Chica on Twitter. What is Heels and Jobbers? I have no idea, but I'm here with three guys who do know what it is, and they're gonna school me on it. They're gonna teach me what this is all about. First, let me bring in Derrick. Don't call me Darnell. Docket. Hey, Derrick.
Thanks. I'm excited to be here and excited to see where this may, what avenue this may go down. Who knows, right?
If our green room experience before we went live is any indication, well, there we go. Let's go to Jimmy.
Hey, Sonny. Thanks for having me, and really looking forward to talking wrestling.
And Tariq.
Hey everyone, I apologize to the Google Plus universe for being late while the Three Musketeers laughed at me for my technical difficulties, but we should be good, hopefully. So.
Well, I can't keep this together, so let's just get started. Favorite wrestler, and go.
The Rock, Team Bring It.
Wow, that's...
Yeah, because I would pick for a couple reasons. One, because he came from the Attitude Era, which I feel is the best era of wrestling. Two, I was a really big fan of just his overall aspect of wrestling. To me, a good professional wrestler is three aspects. One, they have to be good on the microphone. Two, they have to be good in the ring. And then three, they have to provide really good overall entertainment value. To me, The Rock was a good wrestler, although there were some better. But I don't think there was hardly anyone better than him on the mic, because he would burn anybody in a second and make it funny. And then just watching him as just an overall entertainment value was a lot of fun. So to me, there are only a handful of wrestlers that really sold out arenas in the history of professional wrestling. To me, The Rock is one of those guys. So Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, # Team Bring It for me.
All right. Well, I would be very tempted to go with The Rock, but I'm going to have to go with the Nature Boy, Ric Flair, # Space Mountain. I agree with you, Tariq, in terms of being good on the mic and being good in the ring and then just the overall entertainment value. Flair came from the era where it was still kind of more the technical aspects of wrestling. I mean, Grandy's probably overstayed his welcome, but when you go back to his prime and you look at what are now some of the old school Saturday night TBS main event promos that he cut back in the day, where he talked about being a jet flying, limo riding, lip stealing son of a gun. I just don't think there's anybody who did it better. Even some of his promos later in WCW, when he was having his little feud with Eric Bischoff, and just those memorable catchphrases that kind of live throughout generations. So I think for me, I got to go with the Nature Boy.
I'm probably going to be the most boring given an answer because I didn't have a favorite single person. A huge fan of The Rock back in those days. It's funny because I'm gonna detour a little bit. I think we all three sort of come from the same era of watching. Me, it was the mid '90s up until the early 2000s. So that's sort of my go-to in terms of the era of when I was watching. But Stone Cold, The Rock, Triple H, those guys are sort of my favorites, only because they were the ones that really, really made that era stand out. But I guess one person I want to throw in there is Chris Jericho. I just thought he was absolutely funny in WCW as a cruiserweight, and then when he made the transition over to WWF. So Chris Jericho I will throw in there as one of my in that group of Stone Cold, The Rock, Triple H, Chris Jericho.
Okay. What's a heel?
A bad guy.
Yeah.
Bad guy.
Really bad guy.
So who is the worst? Who is the best bad guy
Yeah,
or the worst bad guy?
I'll ask Jimmy and Tariq who they think would epitomize the best heel from that era. I mean, Undertaker was a heel at one point when he was the leader of the Ministry. I'm trying to think.
Mm-hmm. Oh, Jimmy nailed it. Ric Flair, best heel in the game. I think of all.
And then I would say initially when Hogan first turned heel at the Bash, I think it was Bash at the Beach,
1996.
Yeah, I think when Hogan first turned heel, that was probably the biggest. I don't know if he was the biggest heel, but I think that was clearly the biggest heel moment because I don't think anybody saw that coming. And and I kind of came at wrestling. I started watching mid '80s, so in that same period of time where you still thought everyone in Russia wanted to kill you was the era of Red Dawn and Rocky Four, and Hulk Hogan was just the epitome of like America and just the all American hero. And then he just totally turned bad, and that really I think carried WCW and the Monday Night ratings there for a good 3 years before it kind of ran stale. But I think Flair and Hogan got to be at the top of the list for me.
We do have a viewer. Woohoo!
Right.
Hey,
Somebody that was
hey Anwar Adnan, I hope I'm pronouncing that right, but he also says, Undertaker, WWE's the best wrestler ever. He was sad when he lost to Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania 30, but this is the game. He is great. Thanks for joining us, Anwar. So what do you guys think about Undertaker? I know you guys there are some very passionate opinions about Undertaker. So
I can just stand back and let those two go on this one.
Yeah, let's go, Jimmy. All right, here we go. Here we go. Face heel turn right here. So I'll give the reasons why, and then Jimmy can give the reasons why he hates the Undertaker for some odd reason. Go ahead.
All right. Well, first of all, I thought we'd at least get 3 or 4 questions in before we came to this, but that's all right. We'll go ahead and do it. Here's the thing for me.
But hey, the audience demanded it, Jimmy. So we gotta cater to our audience.
Yeah.
Well, it sounds to me like Tariq just paid the guy $5 to post that question here at the beginning.
Check us in the mail. Don't worry about it.
All right. No, here's the thing for me with the Undertaker. In all seriousness, like I love the Undertaker, like the early Undertaker, like when he first debuted. I think it was that Survivor Series, and he just literally like everyone was so intimidated with him. I just, so I think the early years when people were like, the other wrestlers were afraid of him and he was putting people in caskets and all that sort of thing. Where I kind of started to lose it with The Undertaker was, I'd say probably late 90s, early 2000s, they started flipping his character back and forth too much. So for one or two, for a little while there, he was the Harley riding badass guy. Then he was back to the Undertaker cryptic guy. Then he was back to like, with the Brood and Gangrel and people like that, and then so it just kind of lost me when they kind of flip flopped his character back and forth, and I honestly think he kind of outlived his usefulness. I know Tariq will probably disagree with me, but it's not that I hate the Undertaker. I wish they had not messed with his character and kept it just one consistent kind of persona. Because I just lost it for me. Just knowing him as the cryptic guy, when they tried to turn him into the Harley riding dude, it just kind of lost it for me.
Yeah, so I'll agree with that. Yeah, when he became like the American badass biker taker, I wasn't really a big fan of that either. But I think it's almost part of the evolution of wrestling. It's that you have a character, and to really see the effectiveness of the character, they have to have those turns, whether they kind of like it or not. So yeah, I agree. It's kind of like if he was the dead man, which I like that gimmick, I think it's probably one of the coolest gimmicks, if not the coolest gimmick. And, it's just the value of it. But then, can you really sustain that for 20 plus years? John Cena has been like the good Boy Scout All-American guy for quite a long time. He hasn't really undergone a character change. But I think for The Undertaker, it worked for him because, just the whole persona is like 6'10", and he's big, and he has that creepy music, and it's dark, and but I think that did work for him. I agree with you that the turn to the American badass character wasn't all that great, but it really kind of shows the evolution of his character and how well he was actually supposed to do with that. One advantage, though, of that character turn was that he did get time on the mic, where, with the dead man character, he didn't get that much, or at least he did get to show off his mic skills a little bit with that. So that's my take on Taker.
Yeah. I think one interesting point is that I think most of the characters tend to have those transitions. Like this, they'll stick with their main gimmick, their main character, so that as they go from a heel to a face, good guy to bad guy, their character molds with how they're received from the crowd. Triple H, for example, he's had different modes. He's been Hunter Hearst tells me the Greenwich, Connecticut Blue Blood. He's been, the Game. He's been the D-Generation X guy. He's molded into different things throughout his career. Undertaker's have just seemed to be a little bit more extreme than most because his character has been, I guess, extreme to start with. Extreme probably is the wrong word to use. I don't mean extreme as in completely, off the charts, but when you're a guy and you have a match named after you and you can win by putting the opponent in a casket, I mean, that's sort of, not everyone had that sort of thing. So you notice he didn't have a casket match when he was Biker Taker, so, and then he never talked, and he depended a whole lot on Paul Bearer, and he did all the talking for him. So his character really underwent like an overhaul with the whole feud with Mankind when Paul Bearer switched to managing Mankind in SummerSlam of like 96, I think. I used to know a lot of that stuff, like down to the year, down to the date, and when that stuff would happen. But that kind of stuff really like changed the way his character just went from year to year, from pay-per-view to pay-per-view, if you will. So I don't know.
Well,
Yeah, I think one other thing I'd say about The Undertaker is, or I have to give him props, and Derrick talked about the match being named after you, but I mean, he was very agile, so there's very few guys. I mean, because he would literally walk the ropes and do like an axe handle off the ropes, and he could, so he was a very versatile with his moves, and I think he's clearly, as much as I like to give Tariq, grief for it, I think he's clearly one of the best wrestling, characters we've ever seen.
I remember an interview with Bret Hart where he said that he thought The Undertaker was one of the best big men that he had ever been in the ring with because of his agility, because of his athleticism. And Bret Hart's been one of those guys that's been in the ring with Kevin Nash, with Sid, with Vader, all those guys, and he's fought the big guys. He thought that he was one of the more agile, athletic big guys that he's been in the ring with.
Yeah, one of our viewers does agree with you, Cheryl. Hey, Cheryl. She agrees they should have left Undertaker alone, but she also says, does she dare put it out there that she is a John Cena fan?
I got nothing.
So what do you guys say?
That's... Go for it, D.
Oh, okay. I was going to say, me, I try to watch some of the new stuff. I just can't, mostly because I don't know all the people, I'm like wondering where CM Punk is. I'm like, why is Cena out there feuding with everyone? It seems like he's going through the roster. But I understand they've got a ton of talent now, so it's all different. But I had no problem with Cena. I think he's good. I mean, I don't know. I do find it funny, the chanting, the "Let's go Cena," subs. Like, there's the clear divide of people that are like, he's cool, he's not cool. I was like, really? That I find interesting alone.
Yeah, I think, I'm okay with Cena. I don't have a problem with him. I think going back to the character change, I think the whole issue with, like, little kids like him because, he's like the face of WWE. He's like the All-American guy. And like you said, you have the Let's Go Cena. Cena sucks. If you listen to it a little closer, it's usually like little kids that say Let's Go Cena, and then you have the grown men that are saying Cena, like in this real deep voice. Because I think, like, true wrestling fans don't like his character. It's kind of like all he does is win. He's going to win. He could be losing the whole match. He'll do like 2 moves and then win. And I think the thing is, like, he doesn't have much evolution of a character as of late. People say, oh, Cena should turn heel. But then again, there's a statement that came out earlier this year. John Cena's character makes over $100 million for the WWE. WWE is a business first and foremost. They're not going to turn a guy and then lose that money on top of that. One thing that I do give Cena credit for is he's like a true company man. I mean, he's on the road, not only on the road, but he does media interviews of anyone. He does like all the charity events. I think he's granted like over 400 Make-A-Wish, wishes for kids. So, as the face of the WWE, he's really the guy to go to. And, personally, I don't have a problem with him. He's good on the mic, and he's actually a lot better wrestler than some hardcore fans want to give him credit for.
Yeah, I think he's probably a lot better than most folks give him credit for. Breaking news, because we are randomless and we talk all things here: sports, social media, professional wrestling, because we all have different interests. But just in case you guys were not aware, Steve Kerr has a job now, And it's not just being a commentator. He's now been named the head coach of the Golden State Warriors.
Wow.
So there you go. Right in the middle of like that, Steve Kerr accepted the head coaching position for the Golden State Warriors. So there you go.
All I can say is bear down. That's all I can say. Bear down.
Representing the Arizona right there. Gotta love that. So.
Connection, yeah.
So there you go.
I want to bring this in real quick. When Cheryl's saying when her son was little, he made his own WWE paper dolls with arena and everything. She loves some WWE, but the newest stuff is getting too dramatic. What do you guys think about that? Did you guys do that stuff when you were little too?
I didn't, but her last point is pretty interesting about it being too dramatic, because there was some stuff in the Attitude Era that really pushed the envelope that was like borderline awful.
Yeah, it was
borderline.
I don't like this much. Yeah.
Like, I don't have WWE Network, but for $10 a month, I think it's an extremely good value, and I'm really contemplating doing it. But just to relive some of that stuff that I watched in college, I can't believe they put some of that stuff on TV.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
so, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing for me. Like, it's funny when every once in a while I'll watch it with my wife, which she can't stand, and I'll start talking about the glory days, which, for me were the 80s and 90s. I don't know that it's as captivating for me now as it was back then, but I think they're actually, even though I say that as kind of an older fan, but I think for the younger fans, I think they're definitely really catering to that audience. I think they have some really, like, I love the Shield. I think that's just a great character development. I love the Wyatt family. I think that's a great character development. Then they have Cena, and then they're bringing Evolution back together. So I think there's more diversity for fans now. But I agree with you, Derrick. There's some of the stuff that, those mid to late '90s. Just some of the things. Like, I remember the one episode where the Val Venus impregnated or slept with some Japanese girl, and then her parents right at the end of the show were going to castrate him with the big samurai sword.
Wait, what? Wait, whoa. Wait, what?
14.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So Val Venus, he's probably one of the
Here we go.
I've ever had, but his gimmick was he was an adult film star turned wrestler, and so he would come out for interviews and he'd say, "Do you got a tape recorder in your pocket, or are you just happy to see?"
Very good impersonation. Oh yeah, he's right on.
E14.
So this one, I forget who it was, but it was this Japanese woman that he either slept with or something, and her father. It was just playing all the stereotypes.
It was a group.
Yeah.
Another wrestling group of age. There were like lightweights. It was called Kaintai, and the manager, he was his wife was in the audience, and Val Venus was hitting on her, and ended up sleeping with her. And the manager found out, and it led to this episode of Raw where at the end they had him hung and caught, and right on the stage of the set, you see the knife go down, and it goes to black. I'd never forget that.
Yeah.
Anything in the era.
You probably remember this. I hate to interject this, but remember when they had the whole Mark Henry sexual chocolate angle with Mae Young and Fabulous Moolah? So there was that too. That was kind of crazy.
Yeah, that was interesting.
And a lot of the stuff that was over the top was with Vince McMahon himself. I mean, Vince McMahon and Trish Stratus, and I mean, remember there was an episode of Raw where Vince McMahon got into his limo and it blew up, and it was like, did Vince McMahon die? And then the very next week, I think it was Chris Benoit that actually in real life died, and so they had to kill the whole storyline because they had a real story happening. It was like, oh, we can't really do that. This is weird, but I mean, they've done some pretty obnoxious things in the past.
Very.
If you guys had to choose a theme song, your own entrance music, what would it be?
Of a wrestler?
If you were a wrestler, what would your theme be?
Oh gosh.
Oh man.
I would go with Requiem for a Dream, especially the hook part of it. If you hear the song, it's actually pretty good, because I would probably come out like in a manager role as opposed to a wrestler, but I do like the theme part of it. If not that, then I would come out to still DRE by Dr. Dre, because that's just my favorite song.
Oh, see, those are real songs. I was thinking of wrestler song. I don't know. That's you threw me a curveball.
Man,
Yeah, I mean, as someone who doesn't listen to much modern music, the only thing I could think of would be
It could be oldies.
No, I don't know that. I like the intro to Nothing But a G Thing, so I might go with that. But either that or Turn Down for What.
I'm going with 300 Violin Orchestra. That's what. If you guys have ever heard of it, you would know it, and it sounds, the name is interesting, but if you Google search in YouTube 300 Violin Orchestra, you realize how cool it is.
We'll have to do that.
Okay, since I know nothing about wrestling, I was doing some research. Back in 2012, Yahoo put together top 25 all-time greatest pro wrestling entrance themes. And I want to hear who you think has the number one.
Like our personal number one, or what's number one on the list?
Which wrestler has the number one?
I would say they probably went with Hulk Hogan.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a real American.
He is not. Hollywood Hogan is number 9.
Oh, wow.
Hulk Hogan. Hollywood Hogan was heel. What about Hulk Hogan?
He's not in the top 10.
Oh,
That's a
man.
whack list, anyways.
Ridiculous.
Shawn Michaels had a classic theme.
Yeah, I love Shawn Michaels.
The Generation X had a classic theme.
He's number 8.
NWO had a classic theme. Undertaker has always had one.
Yeah, Stone Cold.
Stone Cold.
He's number 2.
The
The
Rock.
Rock has different versions of a good
The
one.
Rock is number 6.
Macho
NWO
Man.
is number 5.
Ric Flair?
The Macho Man with his orchestra thing? No.
Oh, the Pomp and Circumstance, yeah. Macho Man?
Nope.
Ultimate Warrior?
Who?
The Ultimate Warrior. His little, it was kind of a high energy.
He's not in the top 10.
Oh, sheesh.
That's confirmation.
You
I'm
guys-
cheating. I'm looking at my list of old school entrance music.
Don't be cheating. This
Oh,
is
wow.
not a cheating show. Come on, Derrick.
Rocket.
There's no cheating on this show.
What is number one?
Number 1, the WCW version for Goldberg.
Oh, that's awful.
Jeez.
I'm sorry, that's awful.
That's
Number-
ridiculous.
Tariq, you're right. This list is whack.
Number 2, would y'all hush? Stone Cold Steve Austin. Number 3, The Undertaker original. Number 4, Diamond Dallas Page. Number 5, NWO theme. Number 6, The Rock. Number 7, No Chance.
Oh,
Vince
no.
McMahon,
Vince
no chance.
McMahon, yeah.
Number 8, Shawn Michaels.
Yeah, that's got to be way higher.
Number 9, Hollywood Hogan. Yeah.
Which is
Hulk
really just
Hogan.
Jimi Hendrix.
Voodoo Child by Jimi Hendrix.
Yep.
Okay. And number 10, I'm probably mispronouncing this. The Great Muda
Buddha, yeah.
Concerto.
Yeah. That's way old school right there. Yeah.
All right. Cheryl must know what you're talking about, Dee, because she's sharing the link. She's got the link to the 300 Violin Orchestras.
She probably agrees with me too. And if she found it, she probably realizes how cool it is. So she is the right thinking kind of person.
She's got a question. Hold on. Wait. We're having some difficulties here. Hold on a minute.
There
See,
is-
this is the kind of show I have today. Wouldn't you know it? All right. All right, y'all. Oh, Anwar has a question. WWE Next is the turning point of WWE era. Found the new generation on WWE Superstars and Divas. What do you guys think? Which Superstars and Divas you see as the best ones ever?
Oh,
You mean the
ever?
best ones from NXT?
I have no idea. I don't understand WWE Next or anything like that, so you tell me.
That's like
NXT is their farm system. So basically, it's like their minor leagues compared to the WWE, which is the major league. So a lot of these wrestlers will go through the farm system of NXT and then get called up to the main roster. So like Jimmy mentioned earlier, the Shield. So those three guys, Dean Ambrose, Seth Rollins, Roman Reigns, all came from NXT. Wyatt family all came from NXT. I think at least of the modern NXT, I feel the guy who has the most potential is Cesaro. He used to be known as Antonio Cesaro. Now he's just Cesaro. So just because he has like a really solid wrestling pedigree background, he came from the independents. He was on a really good tag team, and then he's just come into the WWE main roster for the past couple of years and just torn it up. Like he has like the Cesaro swing where he just takes massive guys and swings them around by their legs. He's a good technical wrestler, and he's just really fun to watch. So I would say the best one so far is Cesaro, along with the Shield, at least from the recent past couple of years.
Is that where all of them are coming from nowadays? Like,
Pretty much.
Are there any coming from like I can't think of the name. The other group, the other organization that's around.
Like, I mean, there are very few. I mean, you have TNA, you have Ring of Honor, you have some of those, but I mean, very, very few.
So they're building a lot of their own talent.
Yeah, that's the push with Triple H, because now that he's like a big dog in WWE, he wants to train his own wrestlers to come up the WWE way through the system. So basically, he's sending those guys through NXT so that they're ready to wrestle the WWE style. So, I mean, I can't think of any one, at least recently, who's come straight from the indies who hasn't come through NXT recently. So, I would also say Paige, so who was the new WWE Divas champion who came up. The crazy thing, she's only 21, but she's been a pro wrestler since she was like 14. And she comes from a wrestling pedigree background in England, so I think she has a lot of potential as well, because, I mean, she debuted on the Raw after WrestleMania, which I was there, which was cool, and then she ended up beating AJ Lee for the WWE title in her first match. So a lot of potential there coming out of NXT. So I would go Cesaro, Paige, Shield, and the Wyatts.
He's a man with the knowledge on that topic.
Yeah, that sounds good to me.
Okay, well, let me bring it. This is a good time to bring in. Let me see. Let me do this real quick here. Nope, this one. This is from Tariq.
Nice.
I mean, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's legit right there.
And there's this one, too.
Yeah, that was from Raw. Or that was from Daniel Bryan winning.
Okay, I have no idea what any of that was, so why don't you explain that to me, Tariq?
The first one was the Undertaker theme song, as we mentioned, so that was his entrance. Now it has all the lighting, cryptic music and everything. You can hear like the gong in the background. And then the second one was the Monday Night Raw after WrestleMania, with probably everyone cheering yes, yes, yes for Daniel Bryan, who is the current WWE champion. Unfortunately, on Raw on Monday, he announced like he has to have neck surgery, like legitimate neck surgery, not storyline neck surgery. So,
I have to ask you a question about that too. Continue though.
Yeah, so I was just gonna say he'll be out for a couple of months, like with a legitimate injury.
Yeah. So what does that mean with the title? They're just keeping it on him?
Yeah, well, I guess, yeah, because the title now is the WWE World Heavyweight Championship, so that's why he carries two belts. But yeah, I guess that's it's still up in the air. I mean, I guess depends how long he's out. I mean, if he's out for a few weeks, they'll probably keep the title on him. But if he's out for a few months, then they'll have to either strip it off of him. Which going back to the old school, if they have to strip him, they should do like the old school King of the Ring, like they did in the '90s, to determine a new champion, or at least a temporary champion until he comes back. Because now they do like battle royals. It's like, oh, 20-minute battle royal, whatever. But they should do like, I know you guys are familiar with the old school King of the Ring. I think if he has to be out for a long period of time, King of the Ring should come back.
Yeah, I mean, King of the Ring, and they also used to do, I remember, it was real popular for the Intercontinental title back in the day, but they would do these tournaments to decide a number one contender or two top contenders, and the two people that go through the tournament would meet at the pay-per-view in the finals for the match, and that would start a whole nother storyline too. So I
like
just watching that on Monday, as I was trying to pick it up, I go, this dude's going to be out and he's the champion? I go, wait a minute, so is he still a champion?
Yeah, I guess it kind of goes, since we're on randomness, it kind of goes to UFC too. It's like whenever George St. Pierre tore his ACL and was out obviously for close to a year, they had to have a temporary champion or an interim champion. So whenever GSP came back, he fought the interim champion for his belt. So, but it actually ties into the storyline pretty good, because Daniel Bryan's going against the reformed Evolution. I know you guys know with Triple H, Batista, and Randy Orton. You know, so I could see that being where Triple H will say, "You're not fit for a champion. I'm just going to hold on to the belt." And I could see that. So when Daniel Bryan comes back, he can feud with them or continue to feud with them. So we'll see.
So what was your what? I'm assuming that you all have been to WrestleManias or whatever. What's the most memorable one you've been to, or the most memorable one you've seen on TV?
I have never been to a WrestleMania. I've been to Survivor Series in 1998. It was actually the pay-per-view where The Rock first won his first title, when he also made a heel turn from a good guy to a bad guy with the help of Vince and Shane McMahon. I also been to 1, 2, 3 Monday Night Raws, and that's it for me. But I mean, I remember because that's the only pay-per-view I've been to where The Rock won his title with Survivor Series in 1998.
Yeah, well, I have actually only been to one Monday Nitro. That's the only live event I've ever been to. But I think for me, just watching the pay-per-views, the best one I ever watched was WrestleMania 6, because that was when Hulk Hogan fought the Ultimate Warrior. They put the Intercontinental and the Heavyweight Championship up on the line. That was the first time the Hulk Hogan had lost at WrestleMania, and went down, and the Ultimate Warrior won. So I think for me, that was just a really very climatic time and almost kind of a passing of the torch, even though Hogan took it back the following WrestleMania. But which was another great match. That match between Ultimate Warrior and Macho Man at WrestleMania 7, I think, and then also Ricky the Dragon Steamboat and Macho Man at WrestleMania 3 are typically considered some of the best all-time matches in the history of professional wrestling.
The Steamboat Savage match, especially. A lot of people talk about that one.
Mm-hmm. Sure. Yeah, I've been to a couple of Raws and a couple of house shows. So, Sonny, basically what a house show is, it's still WWE wrestling that's not on TV. These are usually like weekend shows, but they're still good shows. But I would say the best one I've been to would be WrestleMania 30, just for the aura of it, like 76,000 people. There happen to be good matches, and I would say definitely that's the best event I've been to for multiple reasons.
Dang, Tariq, you froze again. This is.
Man, can you hear me though?
We can hear you, but I sure hope this doesn't end up like our green room experience with you. All right, Tariq, you're frozen. Derrick?
Yes.
I'm throwing it to you.
I'm ready.
I'm going to switch gears just because while we wait for Tariq to rejoin the show. Music. Favorite era of music? Favorite decade?
Probably, I mean, the stuff I grew up with. I first got a CD player when I was a freshman or sophomore in high school. And when I rode the bus going to school, that's probably, I lived and died on that thing. My very first CD that I ever got was Warren G, the G-Funk era.
Oh, man.
Regulators. Very first CD I ever had, 1995. So I think early, or I should say mid-90s hip-hop rap is probably what I like. So a lot of my iTunes is music that is old and from there, and I enjoy it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, what's it say about me when the 90s don't feel old?
And that's fine. That's a good thing. You shouldn't feel old.
70s, 80s feel old to me, and that's what I like. But Jimmy, what about you?
Oh, boy. Well, for me, it's kind of, I cross over between two. So the late 80s and, like, early to mid-90s, I think, for me. So as long as we're talking about the first CDs we ever got, my first, there were two, was Duran Duran's Ordinary World and Sir Mix-a-Lot's Swass. Of all.
Yes.
Quite the diverse selections there. But, I think for me, just a lot of the 80s, it was just such a good era of music. Everything from, like, Huey Lewis and the News to Genesis, kind of pop. I can't really get into Prince, but
Prince,
Prince is like my Undertaker, okay?
Jimmy, no!
Come on, man.
Prince was the 80s. Prince and Michael Jackson.
Michael Jackson. There's Michael Jackson and everybody else. But then also, like, Guns N' Roses, Motley Crue, Skid Row, some of the, what at that time was considered heavy metal. And then the early mid-90s, especially, I'm glad Derrick brought up Warren G. I mean, Regulate, that's just like the anthem. And as long as we're reminiscing, that song is 20 years old this year.
Oh, my word. I'm tweeting that right now.
Yeah, I know. I showed it to some students and in class, and 3 of 25 had even heard of it. So,
are you kidding me?
I was rather depressed after that.
Oh, my word.
So that's my kind of era right there.
Tariq?
Sorry, what was the question since I'm having technical difficulties? What was the question?
You are a technical difficulty tonight.
Technical difficulty, yeah. What's the question? Sorry.
Favorite decade of music? I switched gears on you, but we can go back. So.
Favorite decade of music? I would cross over 2 decades to late 80s / mid 90s old school rap and hip hop. I think Derrick said that too. So it really was the best era of music, just like old school Tupac, Biggie, even older than that, Grandmaster Flash and the Furious Five.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. So, I don't know, just like that was just the music I grew up on, and most of my iPod is still old school rap and hip hop, so it just has good beats to it, it has good lyrics to it, and I would say that's definitely my favorite era of music.
I'm laughing because I think she... Thank you, Cheryl. I think this was for you, Dee, because she heard Kenny G and you met Warren G, right?
Yeah.
Not bad.
Although I think there
That's
might be something you need to discuss with us, right, Dee?
No, I mean, maybe Darnell likes Kenny G. I don't
There
know.
we go. There we go.
But Warren G definitely is one of my favorites. So.
Her first CD was Sting's Dream of the Blue, and I'm the oldest of all of you because I remember albums.
I remember albums.
Oh, we had albums.
Yeah.
I remember the Michael Jackson Off
Thriller?
the Wall album. No, the Off the Wall album. That was like that and Donna Summer on the radio. Those were like my two, because I had older siblings, and so it was all 70s music around. They like 70s music, so those were my two, the two ones that I remember. They weren't my first ones, but I remember those, and I could sing at one time to all of those songs, but not now. So, anyways.
Whenever anybody mentions Michael Jackson, the only visual that I ever have is the Thriller album, and I'm talking the album, like the record. And when you open that thing up, you had the cover, it had like the Thriller, like looked like it was handwritten, and you had the Michael Jackson, the white suit. But if you opened up like the 3 panels, he was spread out. I don't know if you remember this, but he had like a white tiger or something with it. I haven't searched that, but I'm pretty sure that was what it was. Just one of those classic things. See, now I can't be that crazy. I'm looking this up now.
We had 300 Violin Orchestra to look up, or actually Cheryl did, and then we have White Tiger, Michael Jackson.
If I find I'm going to do a screen share, and we're going to show this photo.
Yeah.
Well, all I came up with was this, Dee.
That's pretty close. I guess it's a white suit. It's a white suit. He's got a little tiger with him.
Okay.
That's pretty close.
He was such a champion for animals. I mean, the man was just... He was amazing.
Okay, so what's your favorite Michael Jackson song then?
Sonny, answer that. You're the one who started the chat on that on Twitter. Chop chop.
No, there's too many for me.
Well, we know which one you got.
Yeah. No, there's too many, but I'll give you... Mine is a tie between The Way You Make Me Feel, just because of the intro, and the video is pretty darn sweet, too. And then kind of an under-radar song is Stranger in Moscow. I'm a big fan of Stranger in Moscow, too.
Tariq?
I'm going to have to go Billie Jean and Bad. Probably a tie for me. I just like the beat on both of them and the hook.
That should be your entrance song. Bad.
So I can walk out. Yeah, there we go.
Come out in the white suit, you know?
Red jacket, black shoes, exactly.
There you go.
Yeah, exactly.
How's it going, Dee?
Tie for first. Remember the Time. and Pretty Young Thing.
Yeah.
PYT.
PYT, Sonny. Remember that isn't that what you said?
Yes, I said it was underrated, but Cheryl said she had that poster and she had him in all white with the yellow sweater vest. Sexy.
Somebody else vouching for me. Thank you.
Dang, Cheryl, maybe I should just bring you into the. I should bring
Yeah, she
Cheryl
should
in.
probably just be a part of it.
Yeah.
Obviously smart.
Cheryl, if you want to come in, Cheryl, let me know. Did you find it, D?
I found a couple here. Well, this one's funny. Let me get one that's large enough.
Do you know how to do screen share?
Oh yeah, I'm smart.
Well, that's debatable, but
Yeah.
that's debatable.
All right, here. Here we go. Screen share right now. Starting. Michael
Yeah, the blue
Jackson.
box in
There it is.
That's what I'm talking about right there.
Oh,
Nice.
Yeah.
So that thing folded out, and that's what you saw inside. He had this little baby kitten, tiger? Is that what you call that? Cub? I don't know.
I don't know, but I lost your connection.
Uh-oh. I'm still here.
No, I see you. Yeah.
Oh.
I saw it briefly.
Well, there's a bunch of different ones. This one also is similar to it. Like, you can actually see the crease in the album, so that's exactly what I was talking about there.
Autograph too.
Yeah. There you go.
If you keep searching all those images, you'll even find some photoshops with other faces on there.
I did. You know what? I did see that. Where was the one? There was one that I was like, that can't be real. Like, here's one right here. Actually, I went to larger images. If I go back to any size, there was one where you can tell that the face was not what I thought it should have been.
There's some really dark facial features on Michael Jackson on some of those.
Yeah. But I mean, we get the gist. So,
Yeah.
but this is it's a white suit, and he's got the little, and like this one's not real. Like, this is a knockoff.
Yeah,
Look at that.
definitely not Michael.
I mean,
You need to transpose Tariq's face on one of those.
There you go.
Please don't disrespect Michael Jackson like that.
but there you go. So, am I off screen share now? I'm ending my screen share. There you go. Told you I can do it. Got a retweet on the best song ever, #classic, and it's now 20 years old. Warren G. Regulators, #regulators mount up. That was the tweet that I sent out.
That was the song back in the day.
Like, it's just funny. Like, people, like, at some of our conferences, like, you just go up to someone and you'll say a line from that song, and then literally people will just start rattling off the whole thing.
Yeah.
Like, just such an age for people our age, man. It's just.
Okay, speaking of lyrics, she's saying that's okay. Her baby, do what you please. I have the stuff that you want. I am the thing that you need. What Michael Jackson song is that?
Oh, man.
Someone Google that real quick and cheat.
I'm going to guess. I'm not going to cheat. I'm going to guess.
Yeah,
I'm probably way off. The Way You Make Me Feel?
No.
No.
I'm going to say Dirty Diana.
Oh, wait.
She's got sound effects, man.
Hey, all right.
Oh, wait, I should keep with the theme, huh? Oh, that didn't work. That didn't work.
Good job, Richard.
We'll just... Oh, wait, here we go. There we go. Jimmy, nicely done, my friend.
200 points to you.
Nice job, Jimmy.
He's still my king. There you go.
All right, next one. If I can pull this up here. You can shout out all you want to, because there ain't no sin in folks all getting loud.
Can you say that slower? I'm typing. I'm kidding.
Blocked!
Can you repeat it though? I didn't. I interrupted you. I'm sorry.
All right, I'll just go to a different one. Gotta hide your inhibitions. Gotta let that fool loose deep inside your soul. Want to see an exhibition? Better do it now before you get too old.
Oh boy.
Stumped.
Blue.
I got nothing.
I got
Hey
nothing.
guys, come on, off the wall.
Off the wall.
Well,
Golly. All right, one.
You should look up Shawn Michaels' entrance song theme music lyrics and see how those strike you.
HBK.
I did watch a funny video last night that I don't even remember watching when it happened. Of course, I do remember when the Generation X did a parody of the Nation of Domination. That was one of the all-time classic moments. Well, they also did one where they did a corporation. Back when the corporation was Vince, Shane, Briscoe Patterson, The Rock. Shawn Michaels was the commissioner of the WWF, and he was also a member of the corporation, and Ken Shamrock and the Big Boss Man.
oh, Ken Shamrock.
There's this guy that is like a pro at doing like the voices, and they dressed him up to make him look like it. It was hilarious. He had Shawn Michaels down like to a T. I mean, it was like perfect. And in the parody of the Nation Domination, he did Owen Hart, which is even funnier. But I did remember this one when they did a parody of the corporation. It was really funny. And I was watching that last night. The Generation X provided a lot of different moments, if you will. Some over the top, some funny in their time. And when I say that, I'm talking the Triple H, China, New Age Outlaws, and X-Pac, the Generation X. So.
Yeah, that was one of the best stables of all time. Definitely.
Yeah, and I'm saying that could be a different topic. Best stable. I mean, there's a period of time where you've got, DX, The Nation, NWO, Disciples of Apocalypse, Tariq was. I mean, they were all. I mean, there was a bunch of them going on. The Blue World Order, Raven's Flock. I mean, just a bunch of them. I don't know.
Yeah.
Four Horsemen, of course, is a classic. There's been different incarnations of the Four Horsemen.
Yeah, I still think the Four Horsemen were the best, though.
Honestly, I was a big fan of the group.
Tully Blanchard.
Chris Benoit, Dean Malenko, Perry Saturn, and
The Radical.
Yeah, when they first came to WWF back in 2000-ish, that's a pretty solid group of pure wrestlers right there.
Yeah, and Eddie Guerrero, right?
Yeah, they all left WCW at the same time and went to WWF.
Yeah, exactly. I remember Brock did a promo cut a promo on the Radicals that was hilarious. He basically burned all four of them in like 30 seconds. It was the funniest thing. So.
No, I thought there's been a lot of those groups, but obviously DX is probably one of the more notables, and I really hate when they try and rehash the Generation X and bring it back. It just makes it worse and worse and worse every time they do that.
Yeah. Well, I guess here, I got a question. Actually, speaking of rehashing, it almost seems like, do you think that some of the I know you guys don't watch as much these days, but do you still think that whenever new quote-unquote characters come out, they're almost just rehashes of old characters?
Oh, sure.
Really breaking ground for a new character.
I see a hardcore Big Boss Man when I see the Shield.
Yeah.
Either that or they're what? Oh, I see a lot of old characters coming back in the different forms, fitting for today in the current ones. So, that's just my take. Again, like you said, I don't watch enough or as much as I used to, but when I do look, I'm like, probably a rider looking back. I mean, to be honest, I mean, you think about it, all the 80s was so popular and the Attitude Era was so popular. I mean, that's probably when Vince made most of his money. Heck, the best ideas are borrowed, so why not?
Yeah, that's so true. Yeah, because I think that because whenever it's almost unfortunate, like whenever a new guy or new women's wrestler debuts, it's almost like they're almost pegged to be someone else. It's like Bray Wyatt, he's like really good and creepy on the mic. They're like, oh, he's like Jake the Snake Roberts, or Damian Sandow. He's like, oh, he's like the old school genius. So it's kind of like, are they rehashing him, or are they really trying to create new characters and basically create someone who's their own? Like CM Punk, to me, was his own original character. Like,
Yes.
You can't really say, you can say like, oh, he was a great technical wrestler like so and so, or he was great on the mic like so and so, but as like an overall package, it's hard to say he really is like one and only. I don't know. There could be someone else who comes after him, but I think he was pretty unique.
I actually think the Wyatt family, Bray Wyatt, is a rehash of a previously failed gimmick. You guys, when you look at him, and this is going to be very obscure. I know we were tweeting about terrible gimmicks in the past, but when you guys look at Bray Wyatt, you see any other previous failed gimmick from the mid-90s.
Mm.
And you might not even never even heard of this guy.
The only one that comes to mind was a guy named Skinner.
Close.
He was an alligator kind of bayou guy, but that's the only one that comes to mind for me.
He was not what I was thinking of. Tariq, do you have any idea?
No, I'm out. I mean, like I said, the only thing I could see on the mic, like Jake the Snake, in that kind of creepy, convincing voice, but as the look, I'm not sure.
There was a guy named Waylon Mercy.
Oh,
Wore,
yeah.
you remember him?
Yeah, you're talking
He
about.
wore a wife beater and like white pants and was really nutty on the mic. He would say some creepy stuff and would always end his promos by saying, I can't think of what he would say. But he was just really odd. He's just an odd character. That's what I see in the Wyatt family. So,
I can see
my
that.
2 cents.
It's a good analogy.
Yeah, I like that. It's pretty solid.
Don't see Duke the Dumpster Drosy in him. Don't really see a whole lot of Crush.
Oh my gosh. The Gobbledygooker.
Gobbledygooker, Tatanka, no.
Tatanka. Oh man.
Man, now you're going old.
Oh, that's my wheelhouse.
Yeah.
At one point in time, I could tell you the title history of the Intercontinental Belt from 1994 and maybe 93, probably more 94 up till what, 99 or 2000. Because
Impressive.
it was Razor Diesel, Shawn Michaels, Razor Diesel, Shawn, and it would go back and forth and back and forth. And Jeff Jarrett came into the mix, and Shawn Michaels came back into the mix. Dean Douglas came into the mix. I mean, it was one of the more competitive belts because when Bret Hart had the belt for all of '95 and Shawn Michaels had the belt for all of '96, and Diesel had it for all of '94, '95. I mean, the belt, the world title, tends to like stay around one guy for a number of months. It never changed hands a whole lot. The Intercontinental belt would change hands on Raw a whole lot if people would think about that. It really did. So it was. I always thought I appreciated that championship more. I thought so. The ladder match at WrestleMania 10 really did that too, though.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's good, yeah. So I guess going off the Intercontinental belt, it almost seems like in the history of WWF/E, it really, like you said, it almost seems to be like the second most prestigious belt behind the main WWE strap.
Oh,
I guess with that question, who is your either favorite or who do you think the best Intercontinental champion is or was?
Ooh, that was pretty good.
Yeah.
4 times.
Oh, to me, like I would say,
The Honky Tonk Man.
Was he the longest?
he was the longest.
The longest.
And Warrior beat him in like what 30 seconds for it or something. Yeah.
Warrior, former Intercontinental champion too.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would say, to me, it's a tie between Macho Man and Chris Jericho. Because I think Jericho was like a 9-time Intercontinental champion and really had the belt really well. And then Macho Man was the IC champion, and he was pretty much like second dog behind Hogan, but he carried the belt so well and everybody loved him that he ended up being a really good champ. So I would say among the two, I would probably, it's kind of hard. I may give the edge to Savage just because of the era and how good he was, but I mean, you can't underestimate Jericho being like a 9-time Intercontinental champion. So
See,
I would put those two.
My thing is, when I think of that, when I think of wrestlers, I tend to associate like their main accomplishment and tie it to a title. So for Jericho, for me, he was the first guy that unified him.
Yeah.
So to me, that's what I look at for him. When I think of
Sure.
Intercontinental belt, they're typically guys that either had some memorable match for that belt or with that belt on the line, or they never wore the World Championship belt and they were only an Intercontinental champion. So like Razor immediately comes to mind. Jeff Jarrett comes to mind.
Rob Van Dam. Well, he was champion too. He was main champion too. Yeah. So.
I don't know if Kurt Angle was a world champion. I think he might have been an Intercontinental champion too. He was also King of the Ring. Triple H was Intercontinental champion. The Rock was Intercontinental champion. But those guys also went on to become world champion. Triple H and Rock had a number of battles for the Intercontinental belt. I mean, back and forth too. It literally changed hands between those two. And then one person that people forget, Owen Hart and Stone Cold. Those two. I mean, Stone Cold freaking he's the one that threw the belt. Oh, he threw the world. Was it the world? I thought it was the Intercontinental belt when he stole it from The Rock. He threw it over a bridge.
Yeah.
And that's why the belt. That's actually one of the well. I shouldn't say this reason because I don't work for WWE. I don't know obviously, but when they did that, they redesigned the belt in late '90s, '99, whatever it was, from the classic, what I call the classic look, and became the new look. Austin threw it over a bridge. I believe they were in Detroit. I think for some reason I remember Joe Louis Arena. He goes, "Rock, you want your belt? Come get it," and just chucked it over.
I remember that, yeah. And they started fighting out in the parking lot.
Yes.
I remember that, yeah. Well, I'm glad because like Cody Rhodes a couple years ago, who was the son of Dusty Rhodes, he brought back the old white belt, like the old.
You know exactly what I'm talking about. Yeah.
Yeah, he brought back the old white Intercontinental belt, and it looks good.
Yeah.
So that's years now.
And Goldust had a belt, and he had a gold one with the gold trim. They actually spray painted the white belt with gold spray paint and glitter, and it was when Goldust was Intercontinental champion. He had it. So Ahmed Johnson, Intercontinental champion.
Ahmed Johnson. Oh boy.
Could understand anything he said, but
He was a brute. He had the look. He definitely had the look. Like the big, strong, muscular look. He seemed to be a little rough though in the ring, and a little green too. So
when I was really into it and watching it, I would find the dirt sheets, the rumor mills on the websites, and there was one that said that Ahmed Johnson was so bad that he hurt people in the ring because he didn't know the technique and the moves.
yeah, I'm not surprised.
I'm sure he's a great guy, but I know nothing. I'm not like I can get in there, but I find it funny to look back and see these guys that were good or whatever it was, and like, man, this guy had 2 moves. That's all he could do. It was punches and kicks after that.
On that note, what's your favorite move?
Oh boy,
Oh boy.
I've always been a powerbomb guy. Kevin Nash, Vader, classic powerbomb.
I like Goldberg's the jackhammer. I thought that was a pretty good move, and I like Lex Luger's the torture rack.
Oh yeah.
Jimmy, can you use your guys to demonstrate these moves as we all are talking about them?
No, I cannot. Time has not been kind to them, so unfortunately, I lost them with their dexterity.
Yeah, you don't want Nash to squat again, so yeah, don't do that.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
Tariq, what's your favorite move?
I like more of the high-flying finesse kind of move, so I would actually go with John Morrison's Starship Pain. It's really hard to describe. So if you Google it, along with Darnell's 300 Violin Orchestra and something at White Tiger, Michael Jackson, yeah, Google John Morrison Starship Pain. Basically, it's a move. He gets on the top rope and does like, how divers do, like in the Olympics, how they do like this 2.5 flip, 1.5 twist kind of thing, and then dive in the water? It's real similar to that. He does like this twisting, flipping thing and lands on his opponent and finishes him. I would say I like that. It's a pretty sweet move.
Okay, which one of these?
Oh, it's live.
Oh, there she has it.
Oh,
Yeah,
boy.
the way he executes it is pretty nice.
That's
that's
not
like a
real, but
that's
that's
like a twisting turn. I was thinking something different. Okay.
Yeah, he like bounces off the top rope and then hits it like really quick.
Do you remember
this.
the wild man Mark Marrow?
Oh, yeah, he would do, yeah.
The Marrow stomp? It was the
Singles. Yeah, that
shooting
was
star
singles.
press.
But yeah.
Tariq, is it this?
That's the one. That's how he starts it. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's cool. So Mark Miro, that was
It was a shooting star press was what the name, because a bunch of other wrestlers did it. But he would
Yeah.
like stand facing on the top rope, facing the ring, and his opponent would be laying down, and he would flip up, I guess, reverse, and he would come down. It was I can't describe it either, but
like a front-facing backflip, basically. Do you remember that match with Brock Lesnar and Kurt Angle, and like Lesnar
yeah,
hit this
Lesnar did it.
on Angle? It was like someone that huge and it was pretty
Yeah.
amazing. Even though he missed it, but Angle was kind of out of the way. But just the fact like a 300-pound man would actually attempt that was pretty amazing.
Yeah.
So
And
but yeah, I
Angle
guess Mark. Yeah,
always
Mark
did it.
Miro wasn't. Speaking of Lesnar, wasn't Mark Miro married to Sable, who is now married to Brock Lesnar? Yeah.
Yep.
And he was, prior to the WWE, he was in WCW as Johnny B.
Johnny-
Bad. He had the Richard gimmick. They dressed him just like Little Richard, and he came to the ring, I believe, with Tutti Frutti. I
Oh,
believe.
yeah. I have that music on my computer. I would play it for you if I could. Awful. Awful. Absolutely awful. We have a comment, Sonny.
Yes.
Question here?
I know nothing about Royal Rumble. I don't know anything about Alberto Del Rio. So you guys tell me. Anwar's talking about Royal Rumble and Alberto Del Rio. What does that
All
mean?
right. Okay, so the Royal Rumble is basically you have two guys that start in the ring and they wrestle each other. Then every 90 seconds, a new wrestler comes into the ring and they wrestle, and then you have to throw each other over the top rope, and then the last person left in the ring wins the Royal Rumble. So you can have up to like, usually it's 30 wrestlers at a time, so you can have like a whole mass of people in there. So I guess the 2011 one that he's referring to had 40 wrestlers, which was like the largest Royal Rumble. Alberto Del Rio ended up winning that one. I don't know if I would call
How do you win when there's 40 people involved?
Throw him over the rock, bro.
You have to be thrown on the top rope.
it, but I would say the best would be, man, let me see.
The best Royal Rumble?
Best Royal Rumble? I mean, you're looking at, what, maybe like Stone Cold's second one?
No. I got the answer to that. Easy. It's 95. It's the first one where Shawn Michaels went from the start to the end.
Yeah.
That was awesome.
Once,
And then so the problem is once he did that, it became, he won it 2 years in a row. Austin won it going, the Austin McMahon feud forced Austin to be the first one in. And, of course, you knew he was going to get his title shots. He was the last one out. McMahon was in there with him. Shawn Michaels' first one, because it had the drama to it for me.
yeah, that's true.
I mean, it was so unexpected. It was so unexpected.
Yeah, that's
I
good.
love that one. There's been some good ones. I mean, there's been ones before that where, God, it may have been like 92 or, well, Flair won, was it 92 when it was for the title?
Yeah, when it was for the title, that was really good.
Yeah, that one was a good one. And I think 93 or 94, there was a big man. I can't remember if it was Giant Gonzalez. I don't know if you remember that guy.
Yeah.
It took like
I remember Giant
9 or
Gonzalez.
10 guys to eliminate this one big guy and get him out of the ring.
Oh, no, that was Viscera. Wasn't it like old school, like Mabel Viscera? Didn't they have to use like 10 guys to get him
Yeah.
out?
Yeah, that might have been it too. I can't remember. Obviously, it all runs together for me. But
So I guess speaking of the Royal Rumble, yeah. So I guess the record number of eliminations by one guy was Kane with 11. But this year, Roman Reigns from the Shield actually eliminated 12 guys in one Royal.
keep breaking the record.
Yeah.
Now, was it the same amount of people in it too? Did they go back to 30?
Yeah, it was only 40 for that one year. Then in the question in 2011, they did 40 to make it like a huge deal. But now it's back to 30.
Yeah. Well, that's not too bad. So when they change stuff around like that, it just they're just doing it for the sake of doing it.
Mhm.
It was like the one year where they brought back a bunch of oh gosh, one year they did do classics like with the current guys on the roster,
Right, they did.
but there was another year they brought a lot of like either from Indies or something like that, and they were in it. I think it might have been the year in San Antonio or something like that. That one was a weird one because you never saw those guys ever again except for the Rumble match. So
Yeah, that's true.
is that another comment?
Tariq, Anwar has a question for you about divas. Do you even like the divas from nowadays?
All right, so the best divas in history. To me, a lot of people like Trish Stratus because she had the good look. She was a good wrestler. She was a model turn wrestler. I was personally more of a fan of Lita, which was pretty much the epitome of the Attitude Era wrestling. Just because she was good on the mic, she was a good wrestler. She was entertaining, and she really brought a lot of heart into wrestling. So that rivalry between Trish and Lita was probably one of the best women's wrestling rivalries in a long time. Probably, easily in the last 10 years. Probably could be 10 to 15 years past that. The divas these days are good. Unfortunately, they don't get a lot of time in the ring. So as I mentioned, Paige from NXT, along with Natalya, who is actually the niece of Bret Hart, as Darnell referred to earlier. So she trained in the Hart Dungeon with,
Dang, dropping a Darnell on him?
He's Darnell, so every day. So
I'm gonna change a little third.
The women wrestlers are good. They're actually better than what people give them credit for. But Paige looks like she's going to be the star going forward. AJ Lee, really good technical wrestler. Natalya's a really good wrestler. There was one, I don't know if you remember from a couple years ago, who came in. She unfortunately never wrestled. Her name was Karma. So she came in just big brute force. She was known as Awesome Kong in TNA, and she came in, terrorized the roster. But then unfortunately she had a real life situation. She got pregnant, and then she got pregnant, but then she ended up delivering a stillborn baby. So then she went through a lot of trauma and everything, and she hasn't wrestled since. But if she was ever to come back, I think that would be a good addition. So to answer the question, I would go Lita and Trish, probably two of the best of all time, along with Jacqueline and Tara. And probably these days you're looking at Paige can definitely be the future, along with AJ.
Only divas I know are the Bella twins. Is that right? Did I say that right?
You watch Total Divas, I see. Is that why?
No. Come on now, man. I know somebody who did a story on them, okay?
Well, actually, for them in real life, so one of them, so the Bella twins, one date just got married to Daniel Bryan, WWE champion, and the other one dates John Cena. So, good for them. So.
See that? Okay, and that concludes my WWE diva knowledge for the night.
Yeah.
Well, you guys got anything else?
Oh, I think maybe just last thing is maybe top 5 wrestlers or top 3 tag teams or something like that.
Teams is a good one.
So I think for me, if we're just talking about true tag teams with just the two, for me, I have to go with the Hart Foundation with Bret Hart and Jim the Anvil Knight. I think Bret Hart is just one of the greatest technical wrestlers we've ever seen. I love the British Bulldogs. I'm going really old school here. Demolition was another good tag team. And then I like the Acolyte, or not the the Acolytes for some reason. Ron Simmons and Bradshaw.
Don Bradshaw.
GBL, whatever he's going by now. And so I think for me, those would be my kind of elite tag teams.
I'm still thinking.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Road Warriors. I love the Road Warriors, just like that old school power look that they had to them. I would go with the Superpowers, old school Hulk Hogan and Macho Man, just because you had 2 peak wrestlers in one of the peak eras of wrestling. And I'm gonna go. I thought they were a little underrated, but they got the credit they deserve. 2-man Power Trip with Stone Cold Steve Austin and Triple H. It was almost kind of like the new era of the Superpowers, where you had 2 of the biggest stars team up to form a tag team. So I would say that was good. I would say in the last couple of years, I would say probably one of the better ones ended up being Team Hell No, which was Kane and Daniel Bryan, because they were just 2 complete opposites, and they ended up meshing really well. So I would say that's probably one of the better tag teams of the modern, probably in the last.
What? What was that?
Team Hell No. That was their name, as voted on by the WWE Universe. So it's part of their storyline.
Can I throw one more that I can't believe I forgot, and that's the Steiner brothers.
That was on my list. They were on my list. Mine span both companies. When I say both, obviously Turner and Vince. Harlem Heat, because of their athleticism. I think they were underrated. I'm not sure if most folks even remember them. Most folks know Booker T, obviously.
Booker T, Stevie Ray.
Yeah. Steiner brothers were good. Those teams where their brothers were really good. Who am I thinking of? I had Steiner brothers in my head for forever. Oh, jeez.
Dang, on the clock.
Sean and Diesel were good. They were a tag team. They were champs before. Legion of Doom, they were good too. New Age Outlaws from our entertainment factor too, though. So they were really entertaining. That's all I got.
Okay, well, I don't think we have anything else going on with the Tariq froze again. Dang, Tariq.
Oh, no.
Well, we'll get him back in before we leave, but Cheryl had to go, but she wanted to say that she wants to join us next time. If we're gonna do another WWE one, she wants to join us. So I think she likes you guys.
Well,
Good.
she probably will hang into the hangout longer than Targo. I think he's coming back now.
I just came back trying to. Sorry.
If she can stick in with the Wi-Fi or Ethernet, the sound effects just get me.
We can hear him, but we can't see his face, and that's just kind of how it's been tonight for him, I think.
That's
Yeah,
right.
okay.
We'll give him a pass. It was the first time. There he is.
There we go.
All right, who's doing what?
I don't know.
I don't know.
You had sirens out your window, Tariq?
That's me. That's the tornado warning at Clemson.
Uh-oh.
Better get out of there and boogie to Arkansas. Where you going, Arkansas?
I'm not going to Arkansas now. I'm staying at Clemson.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yes, it's been very interesting. So.
Well, we need to
We'll
let
take
you
that
go.
offline.
Yeah, we need you to be safe.
Get home and get underneath the stairs.
All right, well, I think we're done here, and thanks everyone for joining us, and tune in to Twitter or here on Google Plus, and we'll announce the next time we have another one of these. Thanks, everyone.